Everybody, I'm just on my way down to the pool for morning swim. It is May 1st, which means we're 11 days away from show day. We're really into crunch time. That's got me pretty excited because I'm really excited to get back to non-bodybuilding prep life. But also because things are coming together and it's the final phase of a long process here that's been going for a little bit less than a year. So things are wrapping up. Interesting thing that I want to point out before I go into the pool is I got on the InBody body composition analyzer this weekend and just got some very weird numbers that I think were off. Weight is down, so I'm normally measuring in 166 or so. So in April, I lost 4 pounds, which is pretty crazy. What's weird with those numbers from the InBody is it says that I'm up in skeletal muscle mass, which I would not expect, and down a lot in body fat. And I had my body fat percent at 4.2. which I think is wrong. I know is wrong. It was 7.7 at the beginning of the month. Before that it was 8.7. Before that it was like 9.7 or something. It has been coming down fairly consistently by about 1%. So to see this big jump and the amount of body fat that was, it was down from I think 6 kilograms to 3 kilograms. So 3 kilograms, that's like 6 pounds. I don't think I lost 6 pounds of body fat in April. But that's the thing about body composition. It's always a guess, and those numbers this time I'm going to say are definitely not accurate. Next Monday, I have a free evening, so I'm going to go and get on the scale again and check it out and see if there's a difference next Monday. That's also inside of a week of show, so it'll be as close as I'm going to get to knowing where I was time-wise. So we'll just hope for a good reading on that day. I'm going to head into the pool, and when I come back, we'll talk about posing and physique update and all the rest. All right, swim down. I've been doing a little bit more swimming than normal lately, which has been really nice. I've been trying to work a little bit less because energy is just lower. I have less patience to deal with people or issues or things. So I've been trying to spend a little bit less time working, which has freed me up to do a bit more time swimming, which has been really nice. In May, we have 2 staff that are gone for the month. One's in Greece and one's in Vietnam, so I have to be at the gym a little bit more in May. So we'll see if I'm able to keep up the swimming the last 2 weeks. It is the last 2 weeks, so I might just have to make time to get it in because I'm not doing a ton of cardio otherwise. I've been driving this fat loss process mainly through caloric restriction, so getting my calories down, and not through doing a ton of cardio. What I'm doing is lots of LISS or low intensity steady state cardio, which is mainly walking to and from work in the gym every day. Yesterday I did it twice. Walked there in the morning, come home, walked to downtown, when you got a haircut. So it's gonna get loud in here. So I walked into the exchange to get my haircut, walked back to the gym, walked home again. It was almost like 2 hours of walking during the day, so that takes a bit of energy, even if it's just walking. So I'm not spending a lot of time doing extra cardio. If I can get in a half an hour swim, walk to the gym once, that's lots for me. So that's lots for me, and then I don't need to spend extra energy doing cardio because I'm cutting the calories enough. If I ever do this again, if I ever do it again, we might experiment with something different where I eat a lot more food, so I'm less hungry all the time, and then I make up the difference with with cardio, but we'll see. I'm back at the apartment now, so I'm just gonna start getting ready for work. We've got a few things to do at work today. It's May 1st, so I have to make sure that email gets out. Before I go, I have to just finish off a soup. Sunday, did all my meal prep, so I made a salmon casserole. That's what I'm eating for breakfast this week. And I made cabbage rolls, which get taken to lunch because I have to be there in the evening. Normally I eat a soup for supper, but I'm not going to take soup to work because I don't want it spilling in my bag. So on the nights that I'm at work at supper time, I made cabbage rolls with roasted Brussels sprouts, and I think I rounded out the protein in that with dry cottage cheese. And then I have some salads in the fridge that I made too. But because I made a salmon casserole, what I do is I bake a whole salmon. And then I take the bones, turn it into soup stock. So I had that on the stove yesterday. And now I'm just going to whip it all up. Waz it up, blend it. So I blended, instead of ditching the carrots and celery and onions and mushrooms that I put in for extra flavor, I just whip it up, like blend it, and then I have it's not a broth anymore, it's a velouté, or I don't know what you would call it in the soup world, but anyway, I got to finish that up, and then send that email and head down to work, and then we'll check in later. Bye. So the soup is done. I love my niece and nephews. This is what my fridge looks like these days. So, I got salads on the right there. And then I got my Brussels sprouts and cottage cheese and cabbage rolls. On the left there on the top, that's greens. It's just herbs and green onions. It goes into my salads when I eat them. And then underneath that in the red bowl, I have a salad. This is what I eat at night before I go to bed. It's fava beans and cucumbers and peppers and tomatoes and feta cheese mainly. And I eat that with some tuna to get my nightly protein intake. We got soups. So the soup that I just finished is there. And that'll give me 5 days worth of soup. And then I've got a little bit of chicken soup left from last week. The cottage cheese in my soup, the other thing I stick in it is some sort of a green. So this week we got Shanghai bok choy that I chop up there and stick a head of that in with the soup. And then we got salmon casserole. So it's portioned into 7 servings. In here we got chicken breast that goes along with the soup to get the protein. And then I've got some sort of eggplant and bok choy ginger saute thing going on there that I eat as a side with that to help give me more food volume. And then here we got cabbage rolls. And normally I make a lot of slow cooker lazy cabbage rolls, and this weekend I was like, you know what, I got the time, why don't I try and make like an actual cabbage roll wrap? And I did that. And then eggs. So normally I have eggs here and then I'll hard boil some, so I just keep them separate. But I haven't eaten hard boiled eggs for a little bit because I'm getting everything I need otherwise. But sometimes I'll stick an egg in my soup as well. It turns out pretty good. What do we got on this side? So we got dulse, which is seaweed, and it's super tasty, and it's nice and salty, so it gives me a fix when I need a snack, but I don't want to eat any calories. Then I'll have some of that and it really fills me up. Peanut butter, which I get to eat on refeed days, which is nice. I don't eat that normally. Pickles, which I'll have every now and then. I was eating pickles in my evening protein meal until I started making that salad. Beer left over from hosting people for Easter and from hockey. that's just gonna sit there for another 2 weeks until I can drink it. Used for making pizza, which will be nice to use again in 2 weeks. And then tamari and fish sauce. I mean, I put tamari in a lot of the things that I make, and fish sauce, which I put in my soup stocks. Anyway, that's the fridge. That's what that's a week of food, really. Salmon casserole for breakfast, and then salad for lunch, or Brussels sprouts for lunch, soup for supper, and then evening protein feed, or whatever you want to call it, night meal, salad with tuna. These are the cupboards I don't go into as much these days. So I have my bread machine sitting there just waiting until I start eating sandwiches again. And then I have sort of like a snacking baking area. So at Easter, when I was trying to control calories in the Easter meal and food quality, I had to go get some cocoa powder, and I got some unsweetened chocolate to make brownies out of, and vanilla extract, of course, for baking. Baking powder, which I'll use again because I'll be making biscuits when I'm eating more breads, and bran that goes in my bread as well. Flaxseed I still use. I put that in stuff and whatever, it's flaxseed. And then my big dark chocolate bar that I normally eat a piece or two of a day. This is the same bar I've had since January, which is, to me, pretty impressive. I do eat one square every once in a while. Normally I have a square before I go down for a swim, and then come up and eat breakfast after. And then I've got some stuff in here that I don't get to touch very often. I put some freeze-dried strawberries. That's for making frozen yogurt ice cream. And some score bits that go in that too. Nutella hiding down here. I do eat popcorn every now and then. Depending on sort of how much I've eaten a day, then popcorn makes a good snack. We got tamarind, which I'll use to make sort of like a date square, but make up a tamarind instead as an experiment. Dates for making date squares, or putting it to sweeten up brownies without adding too much extra sugar. And then here's the cupboard that is snacks. So when I need a snack, what I'm eating these days is, it's a little blurry there, but chicharron, it's pork rinds, which is a very high protein snack. It's got lots of fat in it too, but I've got lots of space for fat in my diet anyway. I don't get to eat a lot of it at a time, but it's nice. I've got some candy. This is licorice candy that I opened in December, and I might eat a couple pieces a week. And then I've got some other candy that I just don't get to eat that sits in here, and it's salt licorice that I'm looking forward to eating again. And then I keep this wrapper. It's like seaweed packs, because I have one more seaweed packets in the car in case I ever feel really desperate. But if I want to log it, then I need this barcode to log it. So yeah, so this is the cupboard that I don't go in very often. And then what I'm really looking forward to in 2 weeks is like actually eating this tamarind again, because it's a great, tasty snack if you've never had. If you've never had one, try it out. But if I eat 6 pods, it's 290 calories. And I'm just trying to save those calories these days. So 2 weeks, get to start eating more tamarind again. And we'll see what happens next week. So next week is peak week. And I haven't totally decided what I'm going to do in peak week yet. How much am I going to try to manipulate salt or carbohydrates or food quantity? I'm pretty sure I'll get to start eating a little bit more food in the couple days leading up to the competition, which will be nice because this past weekend was a refeed. So then 2 weeks before the competition day would be when I'm the lowest in energy, 2 weeks away from the refeed. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to start adding a little bit more food coming in. After a refeed day or weekend or whatever refeed instance, my muscles fill up. I look a bit fuller. I'm replenishing a lot of the glucose or glycogen, which is nice as an aesthetic thing, and I want to have that for the bodybuilding show. So it'll be nice to eat a few more calories at the end of that 2-week period coming into the show. And then I guess the other thing that I want to talk about quickly is the posing, and we'll get to see that next week when I do the last physique update. But Kristen has hammered out a great program that I really like. I've even mainly memorized it, and the mandatory poses are starting to dial in a bit too. So things are ticking along, things are good. 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.